Westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Feliz Navidad.
Is this really high or is this okay?
No, it's perfectly fine. You got to get into it. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We are incredibly happy that you are here. We are going to jump right in because we don't have any sponsors. So brought to you by me. What are we talking? No.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding.
I know you are.
All right. Today we are going to touch on a topic about good versus godly.
Yes.
And this is something that, again, we talk about this stuff a lot, but there's such a vast divide in the spiritual realm between, do we need to start this again?
Oh, I'm just going to lower it.
Okay. I'm starting that again.
Okay.
3.
Sorry.
It's not your fault.
That just was really loud.
was really
and I had
loud.
a hard time with it.
3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to another smile, please.
Oh, wow. Okay. Stop
3,
that.
2.
That's weird.
3, 2. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We are incredibly happy that you are here. As always, please hit the subscribe button, like it, follow it, whatever, on all of your favorite social platforms and your favorite podcast platforms as well. Today, we are going to jump into a brand new topic that I don't think we've touched on before.
Not really, no.
We've skirted around it a touch.
I mean, it's been,
It
alluded
comes
to
up.
at times, yeah, but
Yeah. But we're going to jump right into a topic about good versus godly and the difference between the two and honestly how great that divide is.
right.
It's very easy to look at your life, at your relationships, at the things that you do daily. And as long as you can justify them as being quote unquote good you kind of give it a pass. And, you know, there's lots of great examples that we can use of this. But honestly, I find that it becomes, even in our own lives, it becomes kind of an excuse, right? As long as we are working towards doing something that is good. If it's not necessarily godly, we kind of give it a pass.
Right.
Right. And you can go about doing all these good things. And by not leveraging the godly aspect of it, it's just a good thing that you're doing. When it comes to relationships, I think that's the bigger one of we have lots of people that we let into our lives and we let be closely involved in our lives because they're good people.
Right.
But they're not necessarily godly people.
Yeah.
And we also don't often push that issue because they're good people. And we kind of, again, excuse it because, oh, well,
It's
they're
good.
It's good. They're good. They're
Good.
nice.
It's not bad.
They're friendly.
They're good. They're good
And-
people.
And again, that's perfectly fine to have friends that are good people. Hopefully all of your friends are good people.
Good, valid point, but yeah.
Just throwing it out there. But there is a massive difference between, you know, in this example, friends you have that are good friends, as in good people.
Right, who happen to be friends.
Yes. And possibly also good friends. And godly friends. Right? Those relationships that we have that are with good people are dramatically different than the relationships we have with godly people.
Hopefully.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh, interesting. Do you have anything else on that one, or are you just going to drop that bomb and leave it?
I mean, you were on a roll, but
No, go ahead.
well, I mean, I think a lot of times, I wasn't planning to go so much into the friendship role, but we did touch on friends a while ago, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. And, your friends matter. And oftentimes because people would be considered good people and, they could be even morally good and kind and generous and gentle. And I mean, all those wonderful adjectives that we want our friends to be, we can sometimes open up a door to have them quite close to us in our lives. But what we don't recognize sometimes that even though they're good people, if they're not godly people, there can be that tendency for those good people to pull us away from God if we're not careful. And that becomes a huge distinction between good people in our lives and godly people in our lives, because hopefully godly people will elevate us and bring us closer to God and not pull us or drag us down. Whereas even those good people, even though they don't have any intention to potentially, sometimes they do it without even realizing it because they don't have the relationship with God that you have to help build you up, strengthen you, encourage you, and help you grow stronger and deeper in the Lord. And they can have a tendency to pull you away, or advice they give you isn't godly. The strength, there's no godly strength from them, and it's a whole different type of relationship. And sometimes we give too much weight to good without the godly aspect of it.
Well, and I think that's kind of the key point of that is people that are good, again, you'll make a lot of excuses. So if you have some friends and again, they're just really good people, it's no big deal to miss a church service, which they will think nothing of,
Right.
because they're just good people, to go out to dinner with them because they're in town.
Right.
Right. Whereas hopefully godly people are going to recognize that, you're going to church this night. So yeah, we're probably not going to go to dinner that night.
Right. You can rearrange your schedules a little bit.
Yeah. It's one of those things where there's nothing wrong with good people.
Nope.
And we both have lots of good people that are in our lives. But the tendency, as you said, is they're just very level, right? They're not going to necessarily drag you dramatically lower in theory, because they're good people. Hopefully they have good morals, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. But they're also not going to draw you closer to God
And
help encourage you closer.
Well, it is also, and you touched on it, your good friends. And, for example, we have a Saturday night prayer service.
Yeah.
So for us, I'll just use us as an example.
We could use you if you'd like. Not you, like you.
Them, I know. Yeah. But
we could name drop.
Oh, I'm not. Anyway, I'm gonna make this about us. But no, we have a prayer service on Saturday night, and if I don't have a lot of friends.
No.
But there have been times or events that have gone on, or situations that have come up over the years where, we're doing this on Saturday night. You guys want to come? And it's like, well, we can either be there till 6:30 or we can meet you there at 8:30. That gives us a little bit of leeway time. And that's just decisions that we've always made. And I've always realized that there's two type of people, well, aside from the good versus godly. But, there's those...
Just throwing another one in the mix for fun.
Another one in the mix. But there's those people that are like, oh, yeah, we completely respect that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, there's the people who are like, oh, come on. But it would really mean a lot to us if you can just come. I mean, it's just one Saturday. But again, it's one of those.
Yeah, we've already made that commitment.
We've already made that commitment
right?
And that decision. And I mean, okay, so if we go visit my mom, or like, there's obviously like wide range of
things
exceptions.
Happened.
But our commitment is to God before it is to people.
Yeah, to man.
So it's our commitment is to God as opposed to good.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they are good people, God is going to be our number one choice.
Yeah. Well, and again, if you take this out of the people, the friends, the relationship aspect too, right? There's lots of things that we do that are good, right? Like I have a couple of hobbies, nothing crazy. But like as I drink from my skiing cup,
Right.
we are moving into ski season.
Yes.
There is nothing bad about skiing.
No.
It's,
No, absolutely not.
It is wonderful. And arguably, possibly my favorite activity to do. But skiing is good. And, you know, it again, I try to ski as much as I can in the winter. I try to get the kids out as much as we can. Skiing is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? And again, enter or add in whatever you do for fun that's good
Right.
into that. Now, I don't sit in the lodge and have a couple drinks.
Right.
Because that's just not something I do. But, you know, I don't do that because that's not godly.
Nope.
Right? I also don't let skiing impact my, again, to kind of piggyback on that point from earlier, I don't let skiing impact my church attendance.
Right.
Right? Or our family time or helping out pastor. Right? And I love to ski. And keep in mind, as much as we live in Canada, I'm lucky to get 3 months of skiing.
Right.
Right? Our season is not, I think last year our season was 105 days. Right?
Okay.
Like it is not outrageously long. This isn't Colorado.
No.
We've got a good friend who works at the Hill. And she was asking last winter why we never stopped by with the kids when she was working.
Yes.
And she only works on Wednesday nights. And we're in church on Wednesday nights. So we don't ski on Wednesdays.
No.
Well, Wednesday nights.
Right. We often don't ski on Wednesdays.
No, very
just
rarely.
because
But
of
I'm
life.
just,
But yeah.
I'm giving myself some space because
yes.
Wednesday mornings might get powder. You know, there are so many things that are in your life that are good. They're not bad. And I think that is, it's very easy to make a determination to eliminate or be aware of bad things in your life, bad habits, bad
Yes.
friends, toxic environments that you're in,
Right.
or things that you go to and participate in or are around that are bad.
Absolutely.
But it's much harder to divide and kind of draw that line between things that are good and again, really have no bad effects and things that are godly.
Well, so it comes down to, are you allowing good things in your life to interfere,
Yep, to supersede.
Godly choices or a godly lifestyle? Strictly from, again, it's fine to go skiing, but is that good thing you're doing, getting exercise, going out, is that good thing interfering in your godly relationship and pulling you away from church, pulling you away from prayer, pulling you away from Bible, pulling you away from Jesus? Are you spending more time doing that and eliminating your time doing what God's called you to do in anything? You know, the other thing when I talk about good versus godly that I often think about is, you know, again, back to the whole, well, you know, they're good people. This is going to get serious for a minute, but, you know, good doesn't get you saved.
Yeah.
Good doesn't get you to heaven. Good doesn't get you that relationship with Jesus. And I know oftentimes, you know, so-and-so's, you know, but they're just such a good person and, you know, whatnot. And one thing that I always come back from good, if they don't have a relationship with Jesus and they're not godly, they're in just as much trouble as somebody who's, say, bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think, well, I'm not going to say I don't think, but, Jesus, when they look at you, when he looks at somebody, he doesn't discredit the bad person any more so than he discredits a good person who doesn't have a relationship with him. And so often that good versus godly, that good person without that relationship with Jesus Christ is somebody who's unsaved that Jesus is trying to save. And that whether they're a good person or a bad person, Jesus can save the horrible, wretched person just as much as he can save that already, sometimes even more so than that good moral person. And, that's just one of the conversations that I know has come up a few times in the good versus godly aspect of life. Well, they're a good person, and, so those things must please God.
And they do.
And
they do.
They prefer it.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Right? It's not the same level. And, you could even use this as a litmus test for multiple things in your life, right? We don't have to just pick on activities or hobbies or whatever. We can pick on church attendance, right? Is your church attendance good? Or is your church attendance godly? Right? So good is showing up, right?
Right.
So you can have good church attendance and be in almost every service. And your church attendance can be just by rote.
Right.
Right? You're just showing up because it's what you do. You go to church.
It's in your schedule.
Yeah. We go to church every week. That's every Sunday we're in church. But
it's habit.
are you coming into the house of the Lord? Are you preparing yourself? Are you praying ahead of time? Are you worshiping on your way in? Are you participating in the service once you're actually there? Or are you literally just showing up, putting your hands in your pockets and, being friendly, being nice, doing all those things?
Making your appearance.
Yeah, but are you just showing up, right? Because attendance is good, but if you're just going to church and you're not worshiping and preparing and coming with a receptive heart and looking to get something out of the service, right? Then your church attendance is good, but it's probably not godly, right? Because you're just
a major element.
You're just showing up, and it might be the same as your weekly golf game that you have. Right? It's just in your schedule. You just show up, you just do it.
Well,
and there's nothing, just like there's nothing wrong with a weekly golf game. You're getting some exercise, some fresh air. Fantastic.
Right.
But there's no God in it. You can go to church and it can be good that you go to church. But if it's just in your schedule and you've got good church attendance, Pastor always talks about winning the attendance award because they were so good at being at church every Sunday.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that that's godly. Your tithe can be good. But, and again, he just preached on this.
Yeah.
If all you're doing is showing up and paying it like you're paying a bill.
Yeah.
It's good. And yes, you got the first part down.
Right.
But you don't have the second part because you're supposed to bring it with worship. So if you're not doing that, is it godly? And again, I'm not telling you that the way you tithe isn't godly. I'm asking you to
think about
it and look at it. Is your study time good or bad or non-existent or godly? Where is it? Right? How you're raising your kids. Are you raising them to be godly children or are you raising them to be good children? And please, for the love of God, at the bare minimum, try and raise some good kids, right? But that next step is, are you raising godly kids?
Yeah.
Right? It is so, and I see this a lot online, on social, on all the majority of the people I follow who are like, they have ministries that focus on family or on children. And a lot of them, they focus on good. which is needed and great. Don't misunderstand. They don't focus a ton on godly. Right? I want, as much as I want to be good in life, I want to be godly. Yeah. And there's a lot of things I'm fighting on that I'm good at, or I'm good with.
Right.
But I'm not where I need to be godly in my mind.
Right.
Right. And if I'm not there in my mind, if I'm being honest with myself, then I'm going to guess that I'm probably not godly in his eyes either on it. Right. I'm trying to get there. And it's we're all a work in progress.
We're all a work in progress.
As we're trying to, emulate him and have his image shine through us. Mm-hmm. But man, it hits you when you start looking at, like, the relationship side is easy, right? Because you can differ pretty quickly and go, yeah, good, godly, good, God. Right. That's easy. It's when you get into the nitty gritty of, like, is your church attendance good or is it godly? Is your worship during praise and worship, for example, good or is it godly? Are you actually sold out, or are you just showing up, going through the motions and being good? Right. Are you trying to be a good little Christian, or are you trying to be a godly Christian? Right. Because it's pretty easy to be a good Christian. It's hard to be a godly Christian.
And it takes continual work. It takes continual correction. It takes continual change. It takes continual growth. It takes continual pressure. Yeah. And it's a daily thing to improve and increase.
Again, it's easy to be good, right? Like, it really is. But man, you want to press in, you want to be godly, you want to get further away from everything else and closer to him. Don't think that the battle isn't going to come. Don't think that you're going to have to fight to get there. And again, it's a great thing. You want to get there. Yes. But it's going to challenge you. The more you dig in, the more you fight for it, the more you push to be more like him. Yep. I don't want to sugarcoat it and say that it's easy. Everybody I know.
Nothing great is easy. Nothing worth fighting for is easy. Nothing worth obtaining is easy. Yeah. Everything that extends at higher level takes effort and work and energy and pressing in and fighting for. And that's okay, because you are never going to achieve greatness without fighting for it and without putting the effort, time, and energy into it. Yeah.
No, you have to put the work in. And, again, I just want to challenge myself.
Yeah, me too.
And you, but yes. Again, we do a lot of these shows and we talk a lot as we're getting through it. And you might think that we're trying to talk directly to you or for you. And sure, you keep thinking that. It's more for us than anything else. But challenge yourself, look at your life, look at where you're good and look at where you're godly and see if they line up. Right? And see if you're progressing towards godly.
And what areas do you need more God so that you can move from that good to that godly? Yeah. What aspects of your life are good that need to be godly, and what do you need to do to get there? And that's something that we continually have to strive for and fight for. It's something that we continue to fight for even with our kids. Yeah. And it is a daily fight, but it is worth every ounce of energy to put into it. And just remember, if God is for you, no one can be against you. And you're fighting to be more like him. You are created, and I mean, I say this all the time, but you're created on purpose, for a purpose, for such a time as this. So when you are fighting to be more godly, you are better able to fulfill that purpose that you were purposed and created for.
I like it.
I like it too.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you are so kind, please subscribe, like, follow, all that jazz. Connect with us online. We'd love to hear from you. Other than that, we look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of The Matt and Fiona Show. See ya.
See you then.